Here's today's recipe. You're welcome to stop the video and take a picture if you'd like. Hi, welcome to Baking with Marion, and I'm getting ready for the Irish soda bread, and there's some pre-work that has to be done. First of all, my oven has to be turned on to 400 degrees, so do that. Okay. Now, there are a couple of other things that I need to do. I need to spray my pan. I happen to have an iron skillet that it calls for. If I didn't have the iron skillet, I also have a casserole pan. If I didn't have a casserole pan, then I would also be able to use a cookie sheet, because then I could just plop my dough on that, which kind of is fun. It's almost like an artisan bread at that point. Okay, so I'm getting my pan out of my way for now. Then the other thing that I have to get ready is to measure my butter. I love this. Thank you, butter people, for putting on the measurements on a stick of butter. So right down here, 1, 2, that's tablespoons right up there, right there, and then up above is cups. But I'm supposed to have 2 tablespoons of butter. So what I'm going to do is cut. I'm using my good knife here, and be sure you have permission before you use a knife, okay? So I'm just going to cut through right along that line. And now I have my 2 tablespoons of butter. Now make sure your butter's cold, of course, because that's what the recipe says. One of these days I might change it up a bit and see if I do, does it make things go wrong? I don't know. I guess I'll find out eventually. Oh, I got my rag ready. I got paper towels ready. I am ready, because some of this is going to be finger foods. So I can take the paper off of that, because I'll need that this knife a little bit later. Put my butter over there. I'll put that away later. Okay. I don't think I'll be needing that, but I have my clean sink, so if I need to pull it out, I can. The last thing that I need to pre-do is get my buttermilk. Now, guys, I rarely, if ever, have buttermilk in my fridge, especially in advance. I mean, I suppose if I were looking in advance enough, I could just get the buttermilk from the store. But since I don't use that much buttermilk, I like to make it using lemon juice. I've also used vinegar. So to make my 2 cups of buttermilk, make my 2 cups of milk into buttermilk, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to just hold that over my bowl, my measuring cup here, just so I don't spill. See, there we go, boom. Now, I better get a spoon, speaking of a spoon, so that I can stir that up a bit before I actually use it. Now that's the pre-stuff that I need to use right quick, All right, so there we go. Now it's time for the dry stuff. So there's that, and my big clear bowl so you can see too. And I need 4 cups of whole wheat flour. And I happen to have my big container of flour. Oh, I've got my wooden spoon. I got my measuring spoons. Oh my goodness, I got everything right where I don't want it. So I have my big my big container of whole wheat flour. And just to show you, I have bay leaves that I put in there, whole bay leaves, and the reason why is it's supposed to deter bugs, as in there are boll weevils and other things that might decide that your whole wheat is good for them. So that's what I do, but I don't let it get in my recipe, okay? And I've never studied that out. It's just one of those things that somebody once told me, and I've been doing it ever since. It seems to keep the bugs away. All right, so I'm going to level with the back of my table knife. So here is 1, 2. Now you might have seen me go like this. That's so I can fill up the hole that's right there. And then 3. And it looks like I have another bay leaf in there. I hope I didn't put any into my flour here. Okay, nothing in there. Now I did wash my hands before we started. Okay, now notice that I lay the knife across both sides. I'm not going like this, because if I go like that, I'm scooping half of it out, right? Or a lot of it out, okay? So you have to make sure your knife goes all the way across that of the round portion of that cup. Alrighty, then it makes it level. I hope that's number 4. I think it was. Alright, very good. My bay leaves are going back into my flour. Ooh, let's not let my flour come down and hide those, because I like to be able to get them out when it's time. So I've done my flour, 4 cups of flour, good. Now I need, because right now I'm just doing the dry ingredients. Now I need what? I need 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Now I've got 1 and then my half, okay? So I'm going to have my knife handy on this one. I'm actually going to do the right amount exactly, and not sometimes when I make it almost exactly, but not really. So there's 1. Now I need the half, and I'm going to use my knife to go right over the top of that. 1.5. And then I need 1 teaspoon of salt. If only I could get this on. Okay, there we go. Yay, that worked. I love it when it works. What did I say? 1 teaspoon. So I have my 1 teaspoon again of salt this time. Okay. Scrape it off. Boom. It's in there. So my salt is done. Now I want to mix this up. One of the things they say to use in the recipe is a wooden spoon. I happen to have one. I'm not sure why that is. For some of them, what they say is that it's less likely to bend. If you use a plastic, it might break. If you use a metal spoon, that might bend. But whatever you have that is necessary right now with just the dry ingredients, it's not that big of a deal. It's easy, fluffy. Now you are supposed to put in your butter. Oh boy, and you're supposed to do it with your fingers. I'm going to break this up a smidgen with my fingers, and then I'm going to mix it in. Now they want you to mix it in so that it becomes coarse. And you're going to do a lot of mixing in with your fingers. So you've got to spread that butter out. You only got 2 tablespoons of butter and 4 cups of this whole wheat flour. Now I'm using whole wheat flour. If you use white flour or a combination of whole wheat and white, then you're probably going to need less let me make sure, less flour. Now, whole wheat flour happens to be a really heavy flour. This will make it a kind of a heavy bread, but Irish soda bread is so good. Okay, so if you have whole wheat, use it. If you need white, oh, maybe you'll need more flour. You know what? You better look that up if you're going to substitute white flour for whole wheat flour. Okay, I'm scrunching this in and squeezing it all over the place and trying to get all the different flour in there so it just becomes coarse. But I am trying to spread it out so that it's throughout this whole mess of whole wheat here. Okay, there we go. Alright, I think I'm good to go. I mean, I can barely find any more big chunks of butter. So Not with my fingers anyway. I can see small chunks of butter in there, but I think we've got it done. Okay. Woo! Messy. Now what it is that we make a little well in there. Ta-da! And we're going to pour in our buttermilk, or if you did what I did where we created it with the lemon juice, then you're going to, basically you're putting your milk in now, okay? So, boom. This is such a simple recipe. It's just that it'll cook a long time. All right, so there we go. Now we want to stir it up. And be careful, you don't want to go too sloppy on that. And if you have a really good a mixer that will do bread dough, you can use that too. But you got to have a pretty good mixer and a bread dough hook with that mixer. And look at that. That whole wheat has really absorbed the buttermilk. I'm just making sure I get all of that dry dough off of the edges. And that is it for this dough. Yay! Okay, so there we go. I'm going to bring the pan back over here before I put my hands in this dough to make it into a round ball. Alright, so that can go right there. Pan back over here. Now here we go. Whew, this will be fun. I really wish I had taken my ring off before I did this, but that's alright. It's washable. I'm washable. It is okay. Now this dough is going to be really sticky, as you can see, and it's going to be a little bit heavy. Alright, I am pleased with how it's looking so far. Oh boy. And actually that is it. I mean, there's nothing more I can do with this ball of dough except put it in the pan. It is so sticky. Cooking can be so much fun, don't you think? Make a mess and have something good afterwards. Alright, here we go. There we go. Okay, I'm putting that in there. Now I'm going to show you something that I do. Here's my little cheating on some breads that get all sticky and don't make a good shape. There it is. I can leave it like that. Or the other thing that I will do, I gotta wash my hands. Alright. Might want to be near a sink. Alright, now here's my secret tip. Oh, my oven's ready. Okay. Leave your hands wet. Shake them out just a little bit. And then I will use my damp hands to kind of shape that, to shape the dough here. I'm going to kind of flatten it up a little on the top. Okay. Now, one of the ways that it says on the recipe to check if it's done is if you thump it on the bottom of bread, but obviously that means having to take the bread out, which is fine. I kind of thump it on the top too. So there's that. Now, there's one other thing that I've got to do before I place them in the oven. And that is, I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to slice. It wants you to make an X at the top, right? And what that does is it helps to get steam out and also helps to get the inside cooked. I can use a knife, and that's what I usually do. And it wants it to be about 1 inch deep. So there I go. I did that with my knife. You saw that, right? Just so that you know too. You can sometimes do it with your kitchen scissors too. And just make a little boop. How about that? Isn't that cool? Whoops, my scissors fell apart. They do that so that I can wash them. I love it. So, scissors or knife, however you want to do it. Now it's going in the oven for 45 to 55 minutes. I'm going to test it in 45 minutes just to see if it's ready to go. Okay? So, put your bread in. Now, put your bread in. I'm setting my timer for 45 minutes. Now that's ready. You can watch my fun facts and then clean up. All right, see you in about 45 minutes.
Here are quick facts about baking soda. There is naturally occurring baking soda, which is mined, and there is a baking soda that is created chemically from ore. Besides baking, there are many uses for baking soda, including whitening your teeth, relieving itchy skin, tenderizing meat, and cleaning crayons from walls.
My timer just went off, so now it's time to check it. So here we go. It's going to be hot. So be sure you use your pot holders. All right, there's my bread. And it says that a good way to test it is to thump the bottom of it to see if it sounds hollow. But to thump the bottom, I gotta take this out, which means I gotta be careful because this is hot. Hot, 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 hot. So I'm gonna put it on something that won't burn up. Okay. All right, I have my little cooling rack, and I'm gonna get another pot holder. I put one of the pot holders underneath my pan, so I still need one for my other hand, and dumping it over. Ooh, hot, 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 hot. Watch out, people. It's supposed to sound hollow. If I could compare it to something else, I think it sounds hollow enough. I think we're good. All right, now we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes, and then it's time to taste it. The timer went off, and it occurred to me, I need some butter. I need a couple of plates. All right. Now, I've got my other cutting board, my bread knife. You know, it wasn't until I started doing these videos that I realized how much I cook. I mean, I got bread knives, I got iron skillets, I've got all sorts of stuff. Okay, so I am going to be brave, and I'm going to slice down the middle just to see if I left my bread in long enough. Oh, I hope so. In other words, if it's gooey in the middle, I didn't leave it in quite long enough, and maybe I'll go for the 55 minutes next time. All right, let's open this up and see. Remember, the inside of bread is hot. There we go. It has a pretty dense, but maybe a little not gooey. Now let's test a little closer to the edge and see if there's a big difference between the edge and the center. All right, so here's the center, here's the edge. Can we see any big difference? I think this has a streak right through the very center that it seems like maybe it's a little gooey. Sorry about all the shadows. It's hard to get right here, right? Without getting lots of shadows. But this piece, looks like it doesn't have that gooey spot right in the, maybe it's not as gooey as I think. All right, guys, that is it. You butter your bread and eat it, and I'll butter my bread and eat it, and we'll see you next time.